Salsa might be one of the fastest ways to improve your Spanish, and most people don't even realize it. Because salsa is basically a Spanish learning cheat code. Think of it as a relic that carries the rich, complex, and intertwined histories of the people that created it. And it gives you language and context that no textbook ever could, all delivered on this sweet, layered symphony of polyrhythmic sounds that slowly etch themselves into your psyche and eventually become a part of who you are. Because, like everything in this world, language does not exist in isolation or in a vacuum. It lives inside of music, migration, memory, and geography. And salsa is one of the clearest examples of that. But a lot of people do feel overwhelmed by salsa. They think it's chaotic, they think they're offbeat, or they think they just plain don't get it. Do you feel attacked right now? It's okay if you do. This is a safe space. But salsa is not chaos, it's structure, and it is a language in and of itself. And once you understand this structure, intimidation clears. And to take it a bit further, once you actually understand it, it becomes a gateway. Because now you're not just hearing rhythm, you're hearing culture. La clave. Everything in salsa revolves around one thing. And that one thing is la clave. And let me just tell you something right now, okay? The clave is not optional. Say it with me. La clave is not optional. Yes. Good job. Yes. Because it is the governing pattern that every other instrument or voice that you hear in salsa must submit to. Yes, including you, 2 left feet. It's a safe space. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Now, there are two orientations of la clave: 2-3 and 3-2. 2-3, 1-2-3, 1-2-3, 2-3, 1-2-3, 2-3, 1-2-3. That's 2-3. And then there's 3-2. 1-2-3, 1-2, 1-2-3, 1-2, 1-2-3, 1-2-3-2. But don't get caught up in all that. That's not the point of this video. What matters is, once La Clave starts, the song has chosen its direction. And you better get in line. I'm just kidding. I'm not, though. Everything else orbits around it. So if you ignore La Clave, everything feels chaotic. And if you follow La Clave, everything else falls into place. And La Clave alone is enough to dance a little salsa. Now listen to this. Cock-a-doodle-doo. Now listen to this. This is where people find salsa to sound overwhelming, right? There's a lot going on right now. Ah, yes. Quiet. Simplicity. La clave. Clave. This right here is the spine. And this is the conga. It's introducing some tension, right? Bongo. It's adding another voice into this conversation, right? Timbales. Accents. And then we add a little bass. And a little piano. A little Montuno. And you notice a lot of repetition and cycling. But in all this, the clave serves as the governing pattern, as that spine, right? While the other instruments demonstrate, while there is still this structure, there is still room for expression in the in-between. I want you to let that sit and maybe think about where else this applies in your life. Structure, but room for expression. I know, right? Damn. And so beyond the instruments, okay, girl, we're up. Please. Thank you. And so beyond the instruments themselves, we go into the structure of the songs. Most salsa songs are going to follow a structure that enforces this architecture that we've been talking about. I'm talking about the singers and the verse, and then progression into the Montuno section, not to be confused with the piano Montuno. So you have the verse, which is going to be doing the storytelling, right? And giving you that context that a textbook could never give you. But then after the verses, we get into the Montuno section, where you hear a lot of repetition and call and response. It's where the energy begins to lift in the song. We have this in African American spiritual and gospel music, right? Don't have me out here. Don't make me do it. Okay, I'm gonna do it. Rain down on me, let it fall on me. Rain down on me, let it fall on me. Right? Repetition. We have these things too. What does that make you want to do? It makes you want to join in, and it makes you want to get lifted, right? Same thing, because the Black diaspora is more connected than you give it credit for. So connected. And in Bad Bunny's Baile Inolvidable, we hear the no te puedo olvidar, no, I can't remember exactly what the words are. I'm sorry, guys. But it's the equivalent, no? That right there is Montuno logic. It's designed for response, and it's layered, and it encourages participation. Stay with me here, because this is where salsa becomes a powerful tool for accelerated language learning, because this is where your brain gets to do exactly what it does best. No extra effort needed. In the pattern recognition and in this repetition bars, the music and the repetition ingrains these concepts into your brain without you even trying. Love that. Montuno repetition reinforces vocabulary. You start to hear phrases instead of long strings of syllables, and you start to hear emphasis and emotion, patterns, and structure. And you know, I would not be me if I did not give you a little bit of history. Bars. Again, I'm so good.
Salsa es ritmo, rhythm.
Because we have these West and Central African polyrhythmic systems that serve as the spine to salsa, we also get isolation movements and hip movements. Because, you know, Black, we get footwork and complexity. And like we talked about, we get call and response traditions. And all this merged with Spanish influence through instruments and partner work dance traditions. And because of colonial history and geography and the trajectories of each country, they each interpreted and evolved this common sound differently, but still the same. And I talk about this in my previous video where I talk about shows and series in Latin America, specifically centering the Black experience. You should really check it out, because all these different influences affect how we experience and learn language today. Check it out. Don't sleep. So each country has their own sound. Son, guaguancó, bolero, bomba. And then there's a mass migration from the Caribbean and Latin America to New York City in the mid 20th century. And there they collide with the African American jazz musicians, and they get down, which gives way to what we now call salsa today. Salsa, una mezcla, a mixture. The name itself tells the story. And so we've been talking about the structure of music, but there's also the way it's danced. And different countries have their own way of interpreting this music. In Colombia, because their salsa is usually faster, they come with a faster footwork, right? In their salsa basic. And then in Cuba, because it's so grounded in West African traditions, you get this very weighty sound that comes out of there that reminds you of West Africa. In Puerto Rico, you get your sharp phrasing, your precise footwork, and your line work, right? And then lastly, bring it to New York, where everybody came together. And Eddie Torres in the 1980s realized we're all dancing, starting on different beats. Let's all start on two, and gave way to New York salsa on two. My favorite style. Oh, I just love me some on two. Yes. Let me stop. Leave a comment down below if you have a preferred style of salsa. So when you understand salsa structurally, it stops being something that you simply observe and starts to become something that you feel comfortable to participate in. You hear the clave differently. You actually feel the clave. You hear Spanish differently. And you start to notice migration, memory, and inheritance inside the music. And baby, once you hear that, you cannot unhear it. Ask me how I know. Now, if you want to go deeper into the African spiritual roots of salsa and how New York reshaped it, you're going to want to stick around because that's where we're going next. And you don't want to miss out. Thanks for watching. Ciao.